The Securities and Exchange Commission has officially weighed in on the battle between small investors and Wall Street hedge funds. This is the saga that's been going on all week long. The story is rapidly changing, and brokerages like Robinhood and Reddit users, by the way, are now being warned by the SEC that they're being closely monitored to ensure that there is no illegality or wrongdoing. And so Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, reluctantly addressed this after reporters asked some questions about whether or not the Biden administration is planning on doing anything about it. Let's hear what she had to say.
Do you anticipate President Biden to address the GameStop controversy when he meets with his economic team a little bit later this morning?
No. Do we anticipate him addressing it publicly, you mean?
No, just talking about it with his economic team.
Well, the focus of the meeting is about the recovery plan, about the status of the economic recovery, about obviously the data that we saw yesterday. I'm sure they'll cover a range of topics during that meeting, but that's not the focus.
Story. Okay.
I know it's a big story, but it doesn't, obviously our focus and our big story is getting the American people back to work. Go ahead.
One more on GameStop, not to belabor the point, but
I love the effort. You guys are trying so hard on this.
What is the broader message to the American public and people around the world that, in large cases, individual investors acting collectively against large financial institutions are shut down pretty much overnight, while the big banks and financial institutions responsible for the 2008 housing crisis got a get out of jail free card?
Well, the message is that the US government is starting to work how it should. The SEC is a regulatory agency that oversees and monitors developments along these lines. It is currently in their purview. They've put out several statements this week. We will certainly defer to them.
The SEC has been around for a while, including during the 2008 economic collapse, which is why that answer leaves much to be desired. But let me open it up to the panel right away. What did you guys make of the way Jen Psaki, answered that question? Because I think, first of all, the reporters should just be more direct, right? Are we going to ban shorting stocks? Because that's like a question that people want to know about. And maybe the fact that they weren't so direct led to that deflection. But what did you guys think?
Press secretaries are always for me, they're always the person who I look towards first because of how they handle situations like this, right? Like it's almost as if she has to come out swinging and showing people, hey, I'm a badass. Like I can, I don't want to say she's marking her territory if that's a weird way of putting it, but it's almost she's like, I'm proven to the American people that I can be effective and still not give effective answers. I agree with you, right? It's like, I think that the reporters should just go in for the jugular and get to the point and ask the questions they want and keep it pushing, because we're at a space in time and with the American people that we don't have time for BS anymore. We've been through the most. And so any little thing that seems off, seems fishy, seems a little shady, we're not here for. We're not having it. So I agree with you. The reporter should come in hot, and she has the right to not answer the question, but it would be refreshing for her to be direct as well, I guess.
I think that I thought the reporter actually did kind of come in pretty hot and actually lob a very safe ball up to Jen Psaki to say, what the priorities of the Biden administration at this moment are. And she was saying before, right? We're trying to get people back to work. We're trying to, talk about and tout your $1.9 trillion stimulus plan. Talk about the rollout of the vaccine. Talk about, housing moratorium on evictions. But she's unable to do so. And this is where you're really seeing the difference between if it were Bernie Sanders and a press secretary for Bernie Sanders up there who has a clear economic vision of the fact that Wall Street has been screwing over Main Street for so long. And now that, this group of investors on Reddit have exposed essentially that the game is rigged in so many different ways, and redirect that back into a message of economic justice that I think the American people are ready to hear. But because the Democratic Party is used to getting their donations from Wall Street itself, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna touch that third rail when, man, we wanna hear it.
I mean, it does certainly put the Biden administration in an uncomfortable position, because remember, like, one of the stories that got a lot of attention during the Democratic primaries was when he met with his Wall Street donors in Manhattan. These are people who were worried about their quality of life changing. And so in response to that, he told them, don't worry, nothing will fundamentally change. So he made that promise to these donors. And so to come out swinging against these hedge funds isn't necessarily something that's gonna sit well with the people who gave him, some material gain in winning this election. But when the SEC first announced that they're keeping an eye on things, Robinhood loosened some of their restrictions on buying some of these shares, like shares for companies like GameStop, AMC, you get the picture. And at that point, early today, the stock value share value did increase. So for instance, GameStop surged 83% on Friday after brokers, including Robinhood, eased some restrictions on trading. Headphone maker Koss Corp also doubled in value. Then there's AMC Entertainment and Express, each up 60% on Friday. Bed Bath & Beyond added 13%. And the list goes on and on, the stocks that we have talked about already. However, what is pretty fascinating is immediately after I began researching and producing this story, there was already a big update. And this next video will explain exactly what that update is.
Hey, John, Robinhood once again reducing the amount of securities that customers can buy on the platform. This morning, they reopened trading of names like GameStop. They are reducing the amount of shares you can buy from 5 shares to just 1 share for a list of stocks here. That includes AMC, GameStop, Koss, Bed Bath & Beyond, American Airlines, and a few others here. Robinhood just updated their blog post that to update customers here. Again, reducing the amount of shares you could buy for some of the stocks that were banned yesterday. They did open that up again today.
I mean, so you can buy 1 share. You can buy 1 share of GameStop. And I think that part of the deal with trading with Robinhood is you get to trade like 1 stock for free. I don't even know, something. So a lot of people who open up a Robinhood account will decide on buying a share of GameStop. But anyway, it's just amazing the kind of like manipulation that's taking place across the board, right? For me, that's the heart of this story. Like, I think that this has really revealed how the system is rigged in the favor of Wall Street and these hedge funds. I think that finally, for the first time that I'm aware of, the general public is starting to really reevaluate whether shorting certain companies provides any type of value to this financial system at all. Of course it doesn't. And then the other part of it is, it's really easy to manipulate. In this case, you have these, I guess, amateur, if you want to call them that, or retail traders on Wall Street bets, working collectively to essentially screw over these hedge funds by buying and holding these shares for GameStop and other companies. On the other hand, though, Robinhood, which bills itself as this, brokerage firm that can help ordinary people invest in ways that they couldn't before. It's all about like taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Like, that's the whole idea. Behind the scenes, they've been working with hedge funds and handing over data from these small investors to these hedge funds who are keeping a close eye on what's going on. So there have been some hedge funds who have actually benefited tremendously from what's been going on as well.
Yes, exactly. And the idea that they're getting the data before those retail investors or before small time investors who, it's great that there's a low barrier to entry for buying and trading on Robinhood or on, E-Trade or wherever it is. But at the same time, the hedge funds behind them are like, you can buy some, but we're gonna have the upper hand no matter what, which I think is really what this story is about, is that, look, I don't think there are heroes. I don't think that the, millions of people on Wall Street bets are heroes in this. I don't know if they did this because they wanted to see a hedge fund cry or if they wanted to make money themselves. Whatever it is, it's exposing and revealing a bigger problem and getting us to talk about these issues like actual regulation. But it's just so funny that all these platforms that were supposed to democratize, Wall Street are revealing that Wall Street's inherently undemocratic. It's not meant for everyday people. It is meant for the 10% of Americans who own 90% of all stock. And meanwhile, our retirement funds, school funds, city funds, all of that is being gambled with and played with. So it is a question about regulation, and it's a question about the ethics of the stock market in and of itself.
I think you guys.
Well, don't worry, Francesca, because the system is working the way it's supposed to. Okay, I defer to the SEC. The SEC that again obviously didn't do what needed to be done to prevent Wall Street greed collapsing the market in 2008, and anyway, but go ahead. Sorry about that, Jason.
No, yeah, you guys both make very salient points. I just all day today and in the last couple of days, hearing GameStop over and over and over again. All I could imagine is just some like smelly teenage boy walking in looking for a Super Mario Brothers game, trying to find Zelda. All the times I've traded in phones there for money. It's just super nostalgic, super nostalgic. But I mean, nothing more to add to the story. I think you guys hit the nail on the head on all points. But good. Look, GameStop's having a moment, whether it's good or not.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think in the end, any type of manipulation in one way or the other is irrelevant to the health of that company, right? That company isn't performing well, and it has its own business practices that we haven't really gotten into in the context of this particular story that I have issues with. But when you really think about it, I mean, you have online streaming, you have Amazon, you have basically a huge change in the way that people are consuming their entertainment, and it's clearly hurting businesses like GameStop. And no amount of Wall Street bets, collectivist action is gonna change that, unfortunately. So we'll see where this story ends up, but it has been absolutely fascinating to really keep a close eye on it. And of course, we'll give you guys more updates as we learn them.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.